Greenville City Council will come to order.
Norris.
Here.
Rogers.
Here.
Schmidt.
Here.
Whitaker.
Here.
Brown. Ely. Here. Godwin.
Here. And if I get everyone to rise and for the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Evening, everyone. All right, council members, you were sent the minutes. I'll take a motion. Or they stand approved as read. Okay. Approval of the current financial report that was sent out. I'll take a motion to approve that.
So move.
Moved by Mr. Whitaker to approve the financial report that was sent out. Call the roll.
Norris.
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Whitaker.
Yes.
Ely.
Yes.
Godwin.
Yes. Next, I'll entertain a approval for the agenda. I do have a need for executive session. ORC 121-22 for the consideration, appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public employee.
Move to approve the agenda as amended.
Been moved by Mr. Schmidt to approve the agenda as amendment. Any discussion? Call the roll.
Norris.
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Whitaker.
Yes.
Ely.
Yes.
Godwin.
Yes. Okay, moving on to public hearing. So anyone would like to come up and speak at the podium, just please state your name and address.
Aaron Moran. I'm the president of the Darke County Visitors Bureau. My address is 408 Park Boulevard, Versailles, Ohio. I'm just here to give it a quick update on some of the activities we've had in the last month and a half of summer. It's been an interesting few weeks. We've had our assistant director took another position, so we are reevaluating our options on that, but we have been moving forward. So we were at the gathering at the Garst, helping out support that program, also with the Annie Oakley Days, where we were at a good presence at the Darke County Fair. And I would say at both of those places, we saw a lot of out-of-town people interested in activities in Darke County. A lot of them were from Darke County or used to be in Darke County, came back, people from all over, and a lot of interest in the Darke County parks, especially the Bish Center with the canoes and kayaks. So it was interesting to really have people express some interest in the parks, which was great. We were at the Eldora today. They had a little taste of Darke County there this afternoon. It was an interesting time with the people from the Eldora Speedway, but it was good to get some of our businesses out there and promote some of their had the wineries from the area, as well as the now I'm lost my train of thought there. The bakery here in town, Sean, I can't think of the business. Beans Bakery, correct. Thank you. And Hotel Versailles had Silas had some stuff out there as well. So it was a good, quick little event, but it was nice to get exposed some people to other things in Darke County. We got Versailles Music Fest this weekend, which is Saturday. And then we got Prairie Days at Shawnee Prairie Reserve here at the end of the month. So still a lot of things going on in Darke County, even though summer's winding down, but a lot of good things to check out in the county. What questions might people have for me? Okay, all right.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Sarah Hall, 7959 Stoltz Road, Greenville. I am here as president of Main Street Greenville, and I just wanted to kind of give an update as to where the end of our summer has been and moving forward some events we have planned. Some are a little different than we've ever had before. So Artisan Stroll was really good. That was our August first Friday. We had over 40 artisans, live music, demonstrations. It was one of our favorite first Fridays, so that was really good. This last Friday, we had popcorn and prohibition. We had 4 different speakeasies, free popcorn downtown, and we had a really good turnout for that one as well. Our next First Friday is going to be a fall fest, which is something a little different than we've done before. Usually it's just kind of a fall theme, but this year we're looking to do more live music, see about getting some food trucks in and some other different things downtown, bring something different to the downtown area. And then we're going to be having an Oktoberfest on October 8th downtown. We're going to utilize YOLO Park, maybe get the Ohio State, Michigan State game up, move some food vendors down to YOLO and do some different things downtown for that as well. We're also looking for like a German band to come perform with that. And we're also planning for January next year, a Monte Carlo night fundraiser for Main Street Greenville. So that's what we have planned and what we've done. Does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, Cinco de Mayo Day, right? Jeff?
Oh, yeah, that's a suggestion I was gonna bring up at the next board meeting, but that might be something fresh too.
Yeah, that'd be good for
For
me.
May, Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah, definitely.
Sarah, what are we doing with, as far as working with the building owners? So I have two hats up here. I have several buildings downtown, plus council president. So as my hat with the building owners, what are we doing with the building owners as far as helping them with grants that are available, helping them with projects, upper floor projects, et cetera?
We've talked to Greg about reaching out to building owners to see if we can, to find out exactly what the needs are of building owners about grants and things like that. So it's something that we're working to address.
Okay. Yeah, I would love to be able to help support him on that. It's something that I reached out to the last director to kind of give him some ideas, but nothing ever came of it. But I really think if you look at Main Street Greenville from when it started, back when I first bought my first building 20 some years ago, that was one of the reasons I did it, because I had a great mentor program to help building owners, and grants was available, et cetera. And I think we've got some buildings downtown that are in very bad shape. We've got one that no one's allowed in right now because it's got roof leaks and the fire department's deemed it unsafe. I'd hate to lose a building because, you'd hate to have that pretty smile with a tooth missing, right? So I think we need to support the building owners, guide them, help them through the process.
Okay, is
So-
there any way like we could set up a meeting
I'd
sometime?
love to just have Greg call me.
Okay, I can do that.
Yep.
And while you're both kind of here, I think one of the overarching themes that there's some discussion is there was a transition to a single executive director for both organizations. Can you help explain to us, how do you both feel that that's going in terms of, do you feel that everything's getting addressed with both organizations, at times being able to be split? And I think that's generally a concern as the council funds two separate things is, are both sides getting equal representation? Does one get more than the other, especially because it's a shared role? So when they were two separate, it was easy to have that accountability almost. And so I'd be interested to hear what your guys' perception on that is.
Okay.
I think I think we've had it for 6 months essentially, is what we've had this combined idea. It's been rocky. It hasn't been smooth, obviously transitioning from another assistant director. That's part of the reevaluation process. I think there is a lot of concern. One, if you don't have, we move away from the setup we currently have, I would say it's going to be very tough to find and maintain your own one of the separate entities. I think financially, it just, the cost to have two separate entities where one really doesn't have a funding mechanism to it is going to be very tough to keep up, much less to grow. So that's something that we're aware of and concerned with, and we talked about that with the mayor a few weeks ago as well. That funding for the one group is something that would have to be figured out. Otherwise, it's going to continue. It's going to get better, but I think there's a lot going on with both groups, and both groups would like to do more it's having that funding to move forward to do that. You need people and it's gonna be tough to find somebody for X amount of dollars plus, and right now there's no benefits to any of that. So to have the extra funding to hire somebody, an extra person, where's that going to come from to do it? I think it's possible, but it's just, that's the limitation really is going to be the funding piece. To make two whole pieces, it's going to be a funding piece to make that happen. Is that fair to?
I'd say so.
And I think, I don't want to speak for administration and council, but I think additional funding, that's not off the table, I would say. If there's additional funding, because I really feel like the city really believes in our downtown. It's important, downtown parks, schools, that's all important stuff. So I think we could possibly look at other avenues funding to throw some more money at Main Street.
And that was something we talked about. I think Mayor was going to try to set up a small committee. Is that accurate? Was that
I
something?
had said something to him about maybe there's a possibility that you might want to do a committee assignment, instead of trying to get a whole council together.
Right.
That
could
maybe
do
that'd be a way to go, to meet with the Main Street and their staff. Whatever you like, but I suggested that we could do that.
Because I think from the Main Street Greenville standpoint, it's what are the expectations that need to be met to get a larger sum from the city to help fund us. That's kind of where we're at. Like, we're working on adding new First Fridays in January and February. We've got a Monte Carlo night. We're trying to bring more events downtown than just what we've had in the past. So we're just looking to see more guidance on what does the city want to see from us to get more funding.
Yeah, I mean, my personal opinion, as again, being a building owner, I think our downtown, what we have downtowns, event wise is really, really good. My only tweak would be, let's work with the building owners a little bit more to help develop. But it's an awesome program we have, with the First Fridays, all the events, the horse parade, I can go on down. So no one's taken, at least I feel this way, no one's taken anything away from what's being done. It's just, I think Mike had brought it up, just kind of when you have one director doing two jobs, it's kind of like, how do you know this money's going to this, et cetera.
I think that those are all fair things that we're trying to figure out, that balance, and that's why we're continuing to have discussions about whether do we stay together, do we move away, everything's on the table in regards to evaluating what we're doing next. We don't want to rush into it, and when we met with the mayor 2 or 3 weeks ago, whenever that was, that's part of it, is we need to know really, is there a wish, desire, or different expectations for Main Street Greenville, Dark County Visitors Bureau? What are those things? And is that something that we can do and meet? And how do we do that? Do we have to split? And if we do split, okay, well, what does that mean funding wise for both entities? And then we have to make decisions on whether or not we could do those things or not. So that's why I think a meeting together would be whether it's a small group or whatever, would be a benefit for the village or the city of Greenville, Dark County Visitors Bureau, and Main Street Greenville.
Yeah, and when we say split, I mean, the current office space and all that, I think that's great, sharing that space, splitting the cost. I think that's a great way, and I would want to continue doing that.
But there is a cost to that. And that cost is now that, for both of our places, well, somebody's got to man it, right? So to have somebody there all the time means, in the Dark County Visitor Bureau side, is, well, now they're not out going to the activities.
Right.
They're not going with the partners. They're not meeting and doing those things. Same thing with Main Street Greenville. That person then is not in the office. Well, who's going to meet with the owners? Who's having all these things happen when you got to keep the visitor center open? So that's part of the cost idea is, okay, well, where are we spending our money at? And we're spending a lot of our time there. It's nice to have, but you know, the number of visitors that actually come in has, I would say, has gone down significantly since the KitchenAid has pulled out.
Right.
You know, so that was, I think, originally a big piece of it was you had a large group of people coming there doing visits, things like that. Now that place is pulled out. We were there one day and, you know, somebody just wanted to come and use the restroom. So is that really worth the return on investment piece on that? The number of people that come in a week that we're, you know, not able to have that visibility and face to face with all the other partners, which is really what I think the Main Street Greenville people want to see. And from the Darke County Visitors Bureau, yes, we want our person out at all these locations, working with them on their events, whether it's the 4th of July, the stuff they have at Ansonia or Tri-Village, or the old fashioned days in Arcana. We need to have them meeting with them on a consistent basis and bringing ideas and helping them to help the whole county as well.
In the interim time, are you thinking about having another assistant? Or not really for sure.
Right now, I don't want to commit to another assistant from the Darke County Visitors Bureau, because we don't know if we're going to stay together. You know, if we don't stay together, hiring somebody and then dropping them isn't a fair deal to them. You know, and I think that was part of I'd say there was a piece of that thinking and why the assistant director left, because she was worried, oh, they get split off. I don't want to be a director. Well, now I'm left out. I'm kind of left out, and I don't want to do that to anybody. That's not fair to anybody to hire them for a short period of time. That's why I think, again, I think there needs to be that conversation to move forward with both boards and make it.
Can I ask how your traffic is on your websites? What do your website visits look like?
I could tell.
I know that's kind of an unfair question, but is just a general.
Every month, and the representative gets it as well. We have a lot of followers on Facebook, and Greg provides it on a bi-monthly basis. How many followers we have? Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, got TikTok now. So there's he knows how many followers we're adding, how many we have. We have a lot on the Facebook side. That is a big, that's our biggest area. And we're talking, I think it's tens of thousands. Or I mean, I don't know if it's 10,000, but that's our largest group is that.
That's the same for Main Street Greenville. It's Facebook is our biggest. We're at, I think, 12,000 followers on Facebook. And that's where you get the most interaction and shares and all that jazz.
And the things that were being done in regards to, I see it on Twitter because I'm on the Twitter side. That's generating more likes and more views and hopefully, you know, more interest in the businesses and the activities we have going, we have in the area. But I could get you those specific numbers. I can email those. I can email the last report and send it to the mayor if you like, so you could share it with everybody.
That's fun. I was just curious to see what, you know, because sometimes websites, you know, they need to be refreshed, reviewed, updated. I know I just went through it with an organization that I'm active with. And, you know, it's amazing how just kind of putting a fresh face forward on that it does involve effort, but it's not as much as hiring an individual to fill a position. So, you know, I'm just looking at, you know, what's in that area.
Yeah. I know Greg's been sending out at our request the director's reports and the minutes, and I know that at the end of each of those reports are those numbers that you're looking for. And the Main Street side, I know that you guys have kind of created a First Friday page as well as a farmers market page too, which gives additional information on some of those activities downtown. I think that's a good thing as well for people to go to and look at and see what's going on. I think you're doing a good job doing that stuff.
I like the education part.
Yeah, that's another avenue that
Keeping
I think
keeping us informed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have they ever looked at getting like volunteers to come up there and work like so many hours a day? You know, because the park does it out there at the nature center.
We did have a decent, I should say, we had a few that helped out prior to COVID. So that would still be something that we need to bring back to life, resurrect.
That'll free up your time to go to those things and talk to these
Yep.
people, and they can pass out pamphlets and
Yep, they can
somebody
do
go
it.
to the bathroom or whatever.
That's something, that is an area we're trying to resurrect now, that kind of thing. Knock on wood, COVID's in our rearview mirror.
All right, so I will do a committee assignment. Let me look at who's on what committee, and I'll set something up for the next meeting. So Sarah, should they maybe just reach out to you or come to a board meeting? What would be the best?
If they just want to reach out to me, that's fine.
Okay. Okay.
I'll get everything set up. Yes, we have a board meeting on the
Next Thursday,
Next Thursday, yes.
7:30 in the morning.
So, and that's a regular board, and then you also have a merchant meeting too, right?
Yes, this Thursday at 8:30, we have the merchant meeting.
Okay. So anything new and exciting going on downtown? Any new stores or anything coming?
I think there's an antique shop opening up where the pharmacy used to be
Okay.
at some point. I know they've been doing a lot of work. They repainted that building. A lot of buildings have been repainted and are looking snazzy. The Pregnancy Help Center, I think they'll be open in October, and they've done a lot of work in there.
So they're moving from West Third to there, right? Okay,
It's where Pamela's was,
okay.
next to the theater.
And yeah, and then the movie theater is coming along.
I don't know any updates on that.
Okay. Anything else, council members? Any other questions? All right, thank you too.
Thank you
Thank you.
both.
Anyone else for a public hearing? All right, we will move on to administration reports. Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, President Council. Since it was asked a little bit just in the recent past couple of weeks, the Wayne Theater, Mike Jones, is trying to renovate that, bring it back to life. I'm sure he'll do it, so it's not really just trying. It'll one of these days it'll come around. So just to let you know kind of where he's at. I've been in it a few times, talked with Mike a few times. What's been going on lately? Well, of course, just after he got it, it's been a good while, put a new roof on to try to stop the damage. And then he has replaced the whole floor. He's put all new heating and air conditioning units in the place, and they're on where would be the movie screen wall, and the movie screen is out in front of that. Kind of interesting. I wouldn't have known where they would put them, but there's really not quite as much room, and it was easier to do it at the time. Have the ceiling all torn out, so that's where those are at. Recently, then back where I was going to start at, I went by a week or so ago, almost 2 weeks maybe now, and there was a lot of activity down there. I didn't know what was going on. I stopped, and they had some contractors digging out around the foundation on just at the back corner by the Fifth Street and all the way across the back. They dug that out probably down at least between 5 and 6 feet, somewhere in there. He has been having he's been fighting a water problem on that corner for months, trying to figure out how to get it to stop, how to. We cambered it, I think, a couple of times and just cannot figure out where it's coming from. They had that, a truck come in that vacuumed that whole area
Had a hole along there at least 5 feet deep or more down around the foundation. And then they were making up cement slurry and trying to get it in all the cracks and crevices of the wall. And now I see that it's the place where maybe they're trying to wait and see if it's going to hold and wait for it to rain maybe. And I haven't looked, I haven't asked, but we're right at the place where they're about ready to put the pavement back in up around the back of that building. So hopefully he solved the problem, but you know, and just and that's where he's at. I mean, there's lots and lots of work to go, but especially when you get to the place where you're putting in seats and trying to work out that and trying to figure out where a camera, where you get one and all that kind of thing. It's certainly more than I ever thought you'd spend on that place. He's probably into several $100,000 already. It's amazing that he wants to have kids in the area be able to go to dollar matinees again. So that's one of his goals. I think it's awesome. So anyway, the next thing is, I just had a couple of things to move it along a little bit. I was at a BAC meeting. It's a business advisory council for the schools. Since I'm the mayor, I'm automatically on that. And I share some things that we have going on with the school, or not the school, but in the city. And I know there's other reports also with different, like economic development and what the schools are doing, but the school always puts on a program. And it was on their tech prep programs. I call it tech prep, is this career track programs, I think as they call them, we'll call it now. And they're moving along. They have a lot of kids involved again now. It's growing. And I certainly, I'm sure it would, because of the emphasis on that area of the school of teaching kids is you don't have to go to college, you know, you can get great jobs by learning a career activity in construction or whatever. So they're doing really well. They're meeting their objectives. They have a lot of kids participating, so it's doing really well. So, and the reason I brought that up is kind of it's a pretty neat thing that we took a tour of the field house. So I don't know if anybody's been out there, but probably a couple have. But what an awesome place that is. It's like $3 million project. And it's a wonderful place. It brings us up to snuff with all the other schools that are in our league, particularly if not probably one of the best. So it's a great deal. You get a chance to look at it, check it out. So it's really good. One other thing, I was able to go down to Friday night and meet a lot of the Horseshoe Pitchers Association members. And they were having, over the weekend, they had the state tournament, again, here in Greenville. And it's amazing that somewhat, I said, why are they coming to Greenville? I said, this is the best place to go. It's just amazing. And we fixed up that place this year. The street department did a wonderful job. Ryan and Matt, thanks. And all your guys, fantastic job. The place looks beautiful. And they appreciate it, and they'll keep coming back, and hopefully one of these days we'll have the world tournament here again. But so the world champion was there, the state champion, and it was really fun to meet them, and they really appreciate the work we put into it, and to be able to bring them back. So that's all I got. So thanks. Moving on.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Service Director Ryan Dell.
Thank you, Mr. President. First thing I want to talk about tonight is our solid waste bid. We only received one bid back for that, and it was Rumpke, and I laid the bid tab there. Hopefully everyone has a copy that we can kind of go through. Kind of the big topic is, so the top portion is basically keeping it as it is. Kind of the same service that we currently have with rear load trucks, bulk pickup weekly. The only kind of difference is the yard waste wheeler and the yard waste stickers. There's a no bid on that because the Rumpke transfer station isn't licensed to separate yard waste. Now, with that said, it can be mixed in the trash and just go out with the trash. But before they separated it and took that to a different composting facility, and they're not able to do that, offer that service anymore. So it would have to be mixed in with the trash. So everything went up about 2%, except for the bags, I think was at 3% on the original contract. And so that's a 1-year contract. And then we have a 1-year extension on that we're able to do. And then on down the alternate A, then that would be if you went to like a fully automated, everyone's using Rumpke toters. With going fully automated, all the things in the alleys would have to be moved to the front of the property as well for that price. And go ahead, Dusty.
Not 100%. We're actually testing on a couple alleys.
Okay.
This week, just to see. Our guys believe they can do it. Apparently, years past, years ago, they did do the alleyway.
Yeah, it is.
So we're working on testing a couple of our different truck styles to see if any of those.
Dusty, could I have you come up to the podium?
Yes.
Thanks. State your name full so we can.
Dusty Yanks with Rumpke Waste and Recycling. Just to touch on the fully automated part of the bid, we are working on with a couple different truck styles with our fully automated trucks. So we are actually testing some of those periodically here to see what works best. In years past, Steve Rumpke has told us in years past, they did the entire city fully automated alleys and streets. That was an older truck style that most haulers don't use anymore. So we're working on that. But even if it wouldn't work out, but the fully automated option was picked, we would then just run a rear load truck down any of those alleys that wouldn't work and pick them up rear load that way. So if the fully automated is the route that the city may choose, we would make those accommodations on our end. Obviously at no additional fee to the bid. That's just something we would have to do based on that. So just want to make sure we're all on the same page there.
Yeah, if he doesn't mind, if you could stay up here as we kind of go through these. A question that came up to me on the fully automated section and those numbers, would that be you still providing the billing?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Yeah, when you talk fully automated compared to what we're currently doing, really the only change as a resident you're looking at is everybody would have to have a Rumpke cart. And everything would have to be inside that cart with the exception of the bulk pickup. So all the trash and recycling would have to be in a cart for a fully automated service. And then if we go fully automated, we would do bulk pickup one time a month. We would pick a week in the month and it would be the same, whether it's the first, second, third service of every month. Then the bulk gets set out, then we run the rear load trucks through town and pick up all the bulk items on each of those service days that designated week.
And then on the fully automated side, would everyone be required to have a recycling toter as well? And that would be fully automated?
That is something that we can certainly negotiate there and talk about. The thought is yes, but it's not a guarantee because the majority of our recycling trucks are rear load recycling trucks. A lot of times it's more efficient on the rear load side, especially with the recycling because it's so loose to get out and dump them rather than picking them up and dumping them. It's less likely to blow away from the top of the truck if we're out dumping them in the back of the truck.
And then, so when you say everyone in the city, you're just saying you're not doing bags. It's not anyone who wants trash service. If you want trash service, you have to have, it's not like we have to have 5,500 customers.
If you go fully automated, everybody would have to have a Rumpke cart. So essentially, in that sense, you would more or less eliminate the bag purchases at the current locations. Everybody then could purchase their own bags and put in those Rumpke carts, unless the city still wanted to offer those, but they're still going to have a cart to then put those Rumpke bags. So they're almost paying twice in that sense.
Right, but as we've kind of gone through this, we've discovered that a third of the city, doesn't have a bag, a cart,
Correct.
nothing. Like, that's not trying to require them to do it. They can still keep doing it. However that is.
However they would make that work, yes,
Okay.
yes. Because essentially, if you're if you're a bag customer, and if we would go to all carts, you're gonna get a 35-gallon cart. There's no sense in having a bigger cart than that. Because if we found, Ryan, I have found running all the numbers and the equations, the average bag customer is using between 1 to 3 bags a month, and 3 might be the high end for a lot of residents right now. And that's per month.
And I think I brought this up last time, but so in 2021, 25,250 bags were sold. So when you start to run the numbers, there's at least a third of the residents who don't purchase a bag and do not have a toter of any sort. They're either, putting it with the neighbors or have a dumpster, somehow getting rid of it or storing it, I guess. So I just want everybody to be aware of that as we kind of talk through this on which direction you want to go. The next big item is the extra $6 per month if you wanted an additional trash toter. So in the past, that price, you just had to pay double if you wanted 2 trash toters. Now you can get an extra toter for $6 extra a month. And then that $4 there for the recycling toters, if you would choose to do a recycling toter versus a recycling bin, which are their little red bins. That's kind of the nuts and bolts of it, but happy to answer any questions, or Dusty's here to answer any questions, and we can kind of get a direction of where everyone would like to go from here.
The red bins will still be free.
Correct.
Okay. Then you said on the alternate A paper, it was a large pickup and it was limited to 1 a month.
1 service a month.
Yeah.
But the number of items we would talk to Ryan and negotiate how many items that might be once a month, whether it's 3 or 4 items per month. Because currently it's 3 per week that a resident could sit out.
How's that on the top one here? That would be with that one then?
That would stay the same with the top part, yes. The top part of the proposal you're looking at is service at no change.
Yeah.
Bag customers, cart customers, weekly bulk pickup, all that, everything that we're doing now as far as service levels go, that all stays the same with that top section of the proposal.
Now the recycling wheelers aren't in that regular bid.
Correct. The recycling wheelers were in the bid docs as an alternate, just to kind of see what a price point that would be if a resident would want to go that direction rather than having red bins.
Then the last thing I got is Ryan said something about after 1 year, we could do a renewal. Is there an increase on that then?
After 1 year?
Yeah.
The bid docs have up to a 3% increase.
So we could see a 3% increase after the first year?
Yes, that's how it's written in the bid docs. Correct me if I'm wrong, Ryan, right?
You're correct.
That's similar to the way it's currently set up as well in the bid docs.
So year 2 option is a 3% increase.
Up to.
Up to, okay, that's good to know.
Yes, it's up to.
Doesn't necessarily have to be 3%.
Correct, just like this one was 2%. Yes,
So we would have the option either to rebid it or to choose that option.
correct. And those timelines are all spelled out in the bid docs that were provided by the city on how that all would go as far as timeframes leading up to that.
So Ryan, what in here helps us get the residents that are not currently using service, that is stealing services or filling their garage full of trash? What in here helps that?
Nothing.
There, to be honest, I don't know if there's a real way to eliminate the problem of if residents are using other resident services. Whether they have bags or carts. I mean, we see it all the time too. People steal carts and they use other carts, they use other people's carts. And we'll find them once a year or twice a year when we do our annual or biannual route audits, because they're all tagged ID numbers per that address. And in between that period of time, it's hard telling what residents may or may not do. We have found garages full of carts before that residents have stolen in other communities. So.
Incredible.
It is.
The whole thing is though, I don't care, they could have 25 toters. And if they don't feel like taking them out to the alley or front of their property, they're not gonna do it,
You're right.
regardless
You're
of how many.
absolutely correct there.
You can lead that horse to the water, but you can't make it drink.
Now, one thing that Ryan and I have had a conversation about with, maybe it might help, we don't know yet, we'll start testing this out, is because we do the billing, Rumpke. So we bill everybody and then they pay us, and then we have our cutoffs after residents may not pay after a certain period of time. So we cut them off, we take their trash carts, or we stop servicing them. Because the only folks that can get away from that are bad customers, because they're just buying and putting them out whenever they want. But if you're a cart customer and you don't pay, we cut you off after a period of time, and then we'll come remove your cart. And I believe could probably be some of the issue. Somebody's been cut off and they're just not going to pay for it, so they do it whatever, whether it's throwing somebody else's trash cart or store it in their garage. So Ryan and I have talked about starting maybe monthly or every so often is providing a list to Ryan of who we have on our current cutoff list, what those addresses are, so that Ryan's aware of those addresses are not being serviced by us. And maybe that helps the city some in that aspect, because now they know that resident A hasn't paid for their trash service in 3 months. They're cut off. We're no longer servicing them. So that's one thing that Ryan and I have talked about when we met the last time, was possibly starting to provide some of that list, which Ryan's free to request at any time. Any of you really are, as council members, to have that list provided, so that you can review that. And maybe that helps on a city ordinance side, maybe with some of that trash issue, those residents. But I don't know from your guys' seats where that goes for you, but at least, I mean, that information is available if needed. We can pull that report relatively quickly.
So when do we need to make a decision here on which direction?
So we have time, we have till next April. So we have time. I think we have 90 days to award. So 3 months or 2.5 months to get it through
Right.
council.
We actually send a separate truck to pick up just the red tubs for the recycling.
Yes.
I've had people tell me in the past that they've seen regular collection and.
They all look the same.
Yeah.
However, the recycling trucks say recycling underneath. So it'll say Rumpke, and then it'll have the logo, and then it'll have recycling underneath of it. But yes, they are separated. All of our recycling material goes to our St. Bernard's Recycling Center. So we send 1 to 2 truck trailer loads a day down there.
And we talked about that as well. The only time that doesn't happen is if they have a contaminated recycling bin, and then it could potentially get thrown in the trash.
I've had people just tell me before, and I've not seen it myself, they swear up and down, no, it wasn't the same truck. I'm like, I can't answer that.
I've heard it as well.
Yes, we hear it all the time too. We do.
Right.
Ryan,
Place first.
Ryan, how many negative complaints have we gotten over a period of time?
I'd have to go back through and look. And honestly, like most of them that come to me go through Rumpke first, and we could get a report from him to see how many that he's received. Because most of the time they come to me after they've tried customer service and that doesn't work. I'm gonna say, I feel like it's really amped up since we started talking about the bid for whatever reason. It's just kind of out there. But I'm gonna say, since we talked, and Dusty, if you disagree, but I'm gonna say 30 in the last 6 months
Total complaints?
that I've received.
Yeah, about everything, not getting their trash picked
Yeah,
up.
you
or
name it.
They're coming too early.
They missed their trash, they, whatever.
One fellow that called me and it was a good report. I think it was from Autumnwood area. And he said that he and his neighbors, never had a problem with any trash being dumped on the ground or not being picked up. So he said that was a positive, and he thought we ought to stay with Rumpke rather than going with a in-house pickup.
Personally, never had a problem since I've been 9 years I've lived in Greenville.
I think the kind of the sole purpose wasn't to better our trash service in the city, right? Is to get some type of every person in the city using the service. I don't know if this really fixes anything as far as getting those 35 to 40% of people that are either A, not using a trash service or illegally using it someone else, or in Leon's case, his mom's bringing it to his house. So, and not necessarily bringing it in-house or have Rumpke do it, but I think the whole reason we were looking at this was to try to somehow better that situation. So we don't have a mattress in the alley on Gray Avenue for the last 4 weeks that I'm looking at as I'm stopping at Subway every day to eat. That's the stuff that we need to fix. So I just challenge all of the council members on here to think this through on how we can better clean up this city.
And like I said a while ago, I don't think regardless of what you do, you could give it to them free. And I think they would still end up dumping things that wasn't supposed to be. Maybe in the garages or basements or wherever.
We don't have anybody on the park board, or who's on the park board. Brian, I know that's
I
always,
go to all the meetings, yes.
I know that's always a big problem at the park, people dumping out there.
Yeah.
I know it's a problem at 3 of my businesses that I own. I'm constantly having problems with people illegally dumping.
Parks were an issue during COVID, weren't they?
Yes.
We made we made multiple extra stops out just to get containers emptied because they were overflowing or people were piling trash up beside them. And yes.
And Mr. President, you're correct. Like, that was the whole beginning talks and thought processes, like, okay, what can we need to clean up the city. What are ways we can do it? This was just one idea that we had to try to go after that. Everybody, we kind of get stuck on the complaints sometimes, and Dusty and his team are fantastic. Unfortunately, sometimes it's out of their control, and people have called Cincinnati and you're talking to a call center. But once it gets to me or gets to him, 9 out of 10 times, I mean, it's taken care of lickety split. And then when it goes to like the park side of things, they've worked with us on bringing in extra dumpsters out of the park or bringing in extra toters to try to keep that cleaner. With that, you're going to have the illegal dumping side of it. The way it is, it's just the nature of the beast. We do, have a lot of cameras out there, and we do catch people sometimes, and we send the police to their house and tell them, don't do it again. And if you do, you're going to receive a citation for illegal dumping. So that's how we kind of handle it on that end. And then, with the contract, we discussed, and I've met with Dusty and Noel 3 or 4 different times on ways to help write the contract better to help us or help the citizens, with pricing and different options available out there. And then one thing we added was extra toters for events. So they're going to service our events, which just is a tremendous help. So we're not paying overtime to a street department employee to go pull trash out for every events, because like the downtown, when you have a First Friday, they're overflowing. So we're gonna bring extras in, and then they're gonna service them. We're gonna remove them. So to say that they haven't worked with us is completely false. Like they've definitely worked with us. We've been talking about another option is we were gonna set up an email group. That way, when things come in to me, we can just send those and they'll go to 7 people at your local Greenville Rumpke transfer station. So if one of them are on vacation or whatever, it still gets handled. And I can't think of, normally once we have a complaint and Dusty and I talk about it and kind of walk through it, and then they have a lot of things on their end that they can call customer service and they can get the tapes of how it went and what's said, all those sort of things. We found some interesting ones. Normally, it's not, I'm not getting an accurate story on the ones that just aren't handled, the ones that are just missed and they're handled, but that 10th one that isn't handled, usually there's, either they don't have the service, they didn't pay for the service, there's a lot of different things that go on there.
I think we had one a while back where they were actually cut off.
Yes.
And they were calling and complaining we weren't servicing them. They hadn't paid their bill in over 5 months. So.
And then as far as on the additional service, the large items, has anything changed on that? I know, what do we currently have as far as like large items, like cleanup time?
Oh, so cleanup week, spring and fall cleanup week will still be in on this new contract, and then up to 3 items.
Up to 3 items per
3 items per week. So like the mattress, for example, if they have a service,
right,
and they wrap it in plastic, it'll get picked up. But
if they don't,
then.
So would that be something that we could possibly look at instead of doing it twice a year? Maybe do that every other month? I don't know, just to help clean up some of this.
It'd be interesting to know that resident that you're referring to there are they on a cutoff? And that's the things that you sometimes on our end, we've got to look into, because all the way the billing's done, we have to look into, is that resident cut off and they know it, and that's why that they just threw the mattress out back. Yeah, maybe that's why our guys aren't picking it up, because that address isn't on their route sheet anymore because it's cut off.
I'm not saying anything, it's got anything to do with Rumpke, it's just.
Right, no, I understand that.
Yeah, it's just, I'm sure it's a rental. And I'm sure they probably don't have a toter.
Because theoretically, whether they have a toter or even if they're bag service, they can still set out 3 items per week. So like that mattress, they could set out any week of their service as long as it's wrapped. And if they're a bag customer, they just have to attach a bag to it and then it gets picked up. So.
You go tape a bag to it.
There you go. Go out to Iconberry's, buy a bag, taper, and then whatever.
It's pretty hard to wrap one in plastic if you just don't want to do it.
Especially if it's got bed bugs on it.
There is.
Yeah.
We do have special, Lowe's has bags that are designed specifically for couches, chairs, mattresses.
Yeah.
But it's all if somebody's going to pay to do that or not. I think, but that's also something from the bulk pickup side that Ryan and I have found during our meetings and reviewing all of this is neither one of us, I think we need to do a better job on our end of educating the residents on that piece. And it really came up when Dolores was talking about it at one of the first meetings I was at. Ryan nor I even knew, they hadn't even caught that part of the contract because it's not spelled out very clearly in the contract. It took a little while to find out in the contract where it specifically states the weekly service. But our guys have been doing it for years. Every week, they just pick up the bulk stuff that's out there. So that's something when we do our yearly flyers to the residents, that's something that'll be, I think we'll put it in bold or some bigger print maybe. And maybe the residents will see that and know that every week they're able to put these items out. They don't have to hold on to them. Theoretically, you may only hold on to it for a few days if you know your service is coming up on Monday or Tuesday and you're doing some cleaning over the weekend now. So hopefully if the residents catch on to that and buy into that program, Maybe that helps a little bit with the large items where they can just set it on the curb or in the alley wherever their service is picked up at, and then those items get taken care of a little quicker and a little cleaner for you guys.
I will say that when you do your bulk mailing,
Mhm.
that shows what recycling is, what your services are to the, as soon as I see an update on that one, it goes on my refrigerator.
Right.
I realize that I'm kind of anal about some of that stuff, but
I hang
like
on
to-
the fridge
I like
too,
to
and I
know
even
it.
work there.
Yeah.
So-
so, I mean, I have to say that I think education again is one of those
Yep.
things we can work on cleaning things up if people are aware that they have alternatives.
Right, right.
And I don't like the mattresses either.
That's all I have. On that, I do have
Oh, okay.
something else if you want to move around. If there's any more questions on the Rumpke one.
Appreciate you coming up.
We can-
Yeah.
Thanks, Dustin.
Welcome, anytime.
Appreciate it.
Okay, just a couple of events that are going on this weekend. So first on Saturday, the 10th, is the annual Alzheimer's Walk. That will be at shelter number 5 in the park. Registration's at 9, the walk starts at 10. And then we have switched our city building lights and our downtown lights to purple for Alzheimer's month, for the month of September. And then on the 10th as well, downtown from 2 to 8 is the annual car show. And with that, I will pass.
Thank you, Mr. Belk. Law Director Mike Greenman.
I will pass this evening. There's been a lot of avid discussion unless anybody has questions.
Okay, thank you. City Auditor Roxanne.
Thank you, Mr. Council President. First of all, I'd like to let council know that the department heads have been asked to submit their final budgets the first week of October. So we're headed down that path again. So, yeah, it's same as usual. Lastly, I want to speak to the community in general. Over this past weekend, we had a group of people going door to door, doing unsolicited, going door to door selling services. And they had not come up to our office and gotten permits. We just want the residents to know that any legitimate business that wants to go door to door needs to come up to the city building and get a bond and a permit and basically show that their business is an actual business and also when they do this and go through our process, they will get a photo ID, which they are supposed to have displayed when they go door to door. And if you do not see this, even if they tell you that they have already gotten their permit online, which we don't do, by the way, you'll know that they are not a valid door-to-door salesman. And if you do find these people out going door to door, you need to contact the police so that they can basically put a stop to it, because you just never know who might unfortunately pay for a service that actually doesn't ever happen. So with that, I pass.
That's great information. Thank you for sharing that. Hopefully our media puts that out there. It's good info for the public to hear. Next, committee reports. We have nothing, but I will assign that assignment to meet with Main Street, Greenville, and see the need for exactly what we would like to see from them, and look at possibly having 2 directors for that. So I'll assign that to the Personnel and Public Relations, which is Brown, Ely, and Norris is on that. And if you could have that back by the first meeting in October, that would be great. Next, we'll move on to ordinances and resolutions. First, we have the resolution accepting the amounts of rates determined by the Budget Commission and authorizing the necessary tax levies and certifying them to the county auditor.
A resolution accepting the amounts and rates as determined by the Budget Commission and authorizing the necessary tax levies and certifying them to the county auditor. This resolution accepts the amounts and rates for the tax budget for the fiscal year commencing January 1st, 2023, as established by the Darke County Budget Commission.
Move to suspend the rules. Read this on resolution by title only, second and third time.
Moved by Mr. Godwin to suspend the rules, read this resolution second, third time, title only. Discussion. Call the roll.
Norris.
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Whitaker.
Yes.
Ely.
Yes.
Godwin.
Yes.
A resolution accepting the amounts and rates as determined by the Budget Commission and authorizing the necessary tax levies and certifying them to the county auditor. A resolution accepting the amounts and rates as determined by the Budget Commission and authorizing the necessary tax levies and certifying them to the county auditor.
Move to adopt the resolution.
Moved by Mr. Rogers to adopt the resolution. Discussion. Call the roll.
Norris.
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Whitaker.
Yes.
Ely.
Yes.
Godwin.
Yes.
Okay, number two, we have a supplemental ordinance.
An ordinance to make additional appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the city of Greenville, state of Ohio during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2022. This supplemental ordinance allows for appropriations in the general fund and the sum as follows. Office supplies auditor in the amount of $7,300. These funds are needed due to additional expenses for fixed asset software. New equipment, police department in the amount of $13,878. These funds are needed for a new police vehicle and were provided by insurance claim proceeds.
Move to suspend the rules to give this ordinance second and third reading by title only.
Moved by Mr. Rogers to suspend the rules, give this ordinance second, and third reading. Discussion. Call the roll.
Norris.
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Whitaker.
Yes.
Ely.
Yes.
Godwin.
Yes.
An ordinance to make additional appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the city of Greenville, state of Ohio during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2022. An ordinance to make additional appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the city of Greenville, state of Ohio during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2022.
Move to adopt the ordinance.
Moved by Mr. Rogers to adopt the ordinance. Discussion. Call the roll.
Norris.
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Whitaker.
Yes.
Ely.
Yes.
Godwin.
Yes.
All right, number three, a resolution accepting bids for the KitchenAid Way land lease.
A resolution accepting the bid for the KitchenAid Way land lease. This resolution accepts the bid from Schlechte Farms, Family Farms for the city of Greenville KitchenAid Way land lease.
Move to suspend the rules and give this resolution its second and third reading by title only.
Moved by Mr. Whitaker to suspend the rules, give this resolution second, third reading by title only. Discussion. Call the roll.
Norris.
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Whitaker.
Yes.
Ely.
Yes.
Godwin.
Yes.
A resolution accepting the bid for the KitchenAid Way land lease. A resolution accepting the bid for the KitchenAid Way land lease.
Move to adopt the resolution.
Moved by Mr. Rogers to adopt. Discussion. Call the roll.
Norris.
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Whitaker.
Yes.
Ely.
Yes.
Godwin.
Yes.
Okay, moving on to number four, this is a resolution amending agreement with Darke County Commissioners for the Darke County Health District.
A resolution amending the agreement with the Darke County Commissioners regarding costs for the Darke County General Health District. This resolution amends the agreement with the Darke County Commissioners, whereas the city will contribute 25% of the rate of indirect services to the Darke County General Health District effective January 1st, 2023 to December 31st, 2025.
Move to suspend the rules and give this resolution its second and third reading by title only.
Moved by Mr. Whitaker to suspend the rules, give this resolution second, third reading by title only. Discussion. Call the roll.
Norris.
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Whitaker.
Yes.
Ely.
Yes.
Godwin.
Yes.
A resolution amending the agreement with the Darke County Commissioners regarding costs for the Darke County General Health District. A resolution amending the agreement with the Darke County Commissioners regarding costs for the Darke County General Health District.
Move to adopt the resolution.
Moved by Mr. Rogers to adopt the resolution. Discussion.
What's the need for this amendment or what?
think if I remember off the top of my head, before when the original agreement was in place, it had like a cost specific that we would contribute X dollars, and that hasn't changed since the agreement was in place. This just solidifies it, so we pay 25%, which is what the specific dollar amount was. That way we don't have to change it as it increases in the future.
Very good. Thank you. Any other discussion?
Yes, is that a per annual fee or for the 3-year length of the contract?
I think we pay 25% of the indirect costs as they're brought up, so whatever they are.
Whatever that is during that time period. Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion? Call the roll.
Norris,
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Ely,
Yes.
Godwin.
Yes.
Okay, next, number 5, resolution authorizing the disposition of no longer needed personal property.
A resolution authorizing the disposition of no longer needed personal property. This resolution authorizes the city to sell the personal property formerly used by the fire department on govdeals.com.
Make a motion to suspend the rules on this resolution and read it by title only, second, third time.
It's been moved by Mr. Godwin to suspend the rules on this resolution and read it second, third time by title only. Discussion. Call the roll.
Norris,
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Ely,
Yes.
Godwin.
Yes.
A resolution authorizing the disposition of no longer needed personal property. A resolution authorizing the disposition of no longer needed personal property.
Move to adopt the resolution.
Moved by Mr. Rogers to adopt the resolution. Any discussion? Call the roll.
Norris,
Yes.
Rogers,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Ely,
Yes.
Godwin.
Yes.
Okay, next, we have number 6, a resolution authorizing expenditures from the American Rescue Plan Act funds.
A resolution authorizing expenditure from American Rescue Plan Act funds. This resolution authorizes the city to use the standard allowance from the American Rescue Plan funds to fund government services.
Move to suspend the rules, give this resolution a second, third reading by title only.
Moved by Mr. Schmidt to suspend the rules, give this resolution second, third reading by title only. Discussion. Call the roll.
Norris,
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Ely,
Yes.
Godwin.
Yes.
A resolution authorizing expenditure from American Rescue Plan Act funds. A resolution authorizing expenditure from American Rescue Plan Act funds.
Move to adopt the resolution.
Moved by Mr. Rogers to adopt a resolution. Discussion. Call the roll.
Norris,
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Ely,
Yes.
Godwin.
Yes.
And last but least, number 7, ordinance concerning unauthorized encampments, and this has an emergency clause.
An ordinance concerning unauthorized encampments and declaring an emergency. This ordinance concerns unauthorized encampments on public and or private property as it tends to endanger the health and safety of those engaged in such camping as well as the general public. This ordinance has an emergency clause.
Move to suspend the rules and give this ordinance a second, third reading by title only.
Moved by Mr. Whitaker to suspend the rules, give this ordinance second, third reading by title only. Discussion. Call the roll.
Norris,
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Ely,
Yes.
Godwin.
Yes.
An ordinance concerning unauthorized encampments and declaring an emergency. An ordinance concerning unauthorized encampments and declaring an emergency.
Move to adopt the emergency clause.
Moved by Mr. Rogers to adopt emergency clause. Any discussion? Call the roll.
Norris,
Yes.
Rogers,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Ely,
Yes.
Godwin.
Yes.
Move to adopt.
Move to adopt the ordinance by Mr. Whitaker. Call any discussion?
Is this to try and keep the bridge underneath the bridges cleaned out, or is that one of the reasons?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion? Call the roll.
Norris,
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Ely,
Yes.
Godwin.
Yes.
All right, that completes our ordinances and resolutions. Next, we're move on to new business. We have none. No old business. Council outside committees, Main Street, Greenville.
which is,
Yeah,
yeah,
I think we had a
Yeah.
pretty good discussion there. I just wanted to, Ryan mentioned it, but I wanted to bring up the Rolling 50s Classic Cruising going on this weekend. Downtown should be a nice event. It always is. And it brings a lot of people downtown from all over the place. And I just think it's going to be another great day. It's this Saturday, 2 p.m. to 8 p.m.
yes, that's always a great turnout.
President,
Yes.
since you're on that subject, I wanted to bring up an item earlier, and I kind of forgot. And Jeff was been on vacation, so he didn't know particularly all of it. But the subject of murals came up to me by a committee here in town. I think I was in Litchfield, was going around, they had got some people together. They kind of like, feel like they're part of Main Street. And so I wanted to bring it up. So they asked me about it, and we found some old language, a proposed ordinance that would go along with the sign ordinance that we passed about 5 years ago, like in 2017. And this was never passed, but it's written. And so in order for us to move along with that, either they'd have to get all this done and then try to get a mural done, or just come straight to council. And I said, well, if we want something done, that we can have some language around it and make sure they're doing the right thing. Let's take it back to those committees and those organizations and get their approval again. So the steps were to have a recommendation from Main Street to the ARB. And that would, they would decide whether they should be able to have it or not. But of course, the ordinance has to be passed by council. And I think at the time it was suggested from the planning and zoning to go to council. So it was never passed, but it was, since they're trying to do it again, set up some kind of a format to do it. I said, you need to have all those organizations review it again. So I've asked Main Street to review it to see if they're okay with being involved. And ARB is going to bring it up at their meeting coming up. And then we could talk about the planning and zoning. I give a copy to Mike. I don't know if he's had time to look at it very much, but as time goes along, they want to still try to do something this year. So I don't know if we're going to get there or not. They're run out of time on painting outside or whatever. But just wanted to let you know that it's a possibility maybe that would come up at the next meeting. And I can send everybody the information and copy of the proposed ordinance wages. But I wanted to wait and see the review. So
As part of my report then, and tagging off the end, on the trip that I just took, which is an incredible trip out west, I saw so many downtowns, small town downtowns with murals, and it just really added to the community, and a lot of people are just excited about them. And I think it would be something that could be an appropriate welcome addition to downtown Greenville. And I'd like to see us take a good hard look at that. I think it'd be great.
So help me out. So the person that's wanting these murals is not part of downtown Greenville. It's another group.
yeah,
Am I hearing you right on that?
you're right. I don't know for sure if there's somebody from Main Street on that group. I don't know who's on
Okay.
who was on that committee. Just I told them, and they have the literature, and I said, you know, in order to do this, probably the right way is that anybody that's involved in that proposed ordinance needs to review what had happened in the past. And then if it's okay, then bring it to council. But then maybe there might be some things that they'd like to change, and that's going to delay it. But if they want something done earlier, they just need to come to council.
Over the course of the 5 years that I've been on representing council on Main Street, Greenville, that subject's come up numerous times, and it's just kind of gone by the wayside, but good time to take a good look at it.
I might like to add to that, in my summer trips, I go to visit family in the South. And it's really kind of a neat thing in this little village. It's called Graham, North Carolina. And they have several photo opportunities for people visiting their city to take, my Facebook page has a picture of my cousins and I standing in front of a really neat floral mural, and it's really kind of neat, and there's all kinds, there's historical ones. So I mean, if you think about a city, our city, there's not only just fun things, but there's the historic part of it that could be brought out as another way of celebrating who we are in the state. So I put my 2 cents in there. Thank you very much.
Along old Route 60, along old Route 66, and there's a lot of towns that's muralized all around there, so it's really the holding site.
All right. Do we do executive first or call council first?
No communications.
Or communications, I'm sorry, I skipped that.
We received the monthly report of July from the Transit Department and the monthly reports of August from the Income Tax Department and the Street Department.
Okay. Call council.
Norris,
Keep mine nice and short. I was able to attend the afternoon this past Saturday for the red, white, and blue appreciation. A little bit rainy out there, some good food trucks, and the Veterans Association was speaking when I was out there. It was around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, but overall, good turnout early. I wasn't able to get there for the evening event and listen to any of the music, but it was just kind of a nice entryway to the park, and it was after our Tri-State Track Invitational meet, so the park was relatively booming at that time. Softball, fall ball starts this Sunday. It's double headers. We'll be starting at 8 Sunday morning and getting done at 4 in the afternoon. So I think we've got a pretty good, haven't been around enough to keep track of all the teams, but it's going to be hustling out there 4 Sundays in a row starting this Sunday. And with that, I'll pass.
Rogers,
I'm gonna pass.
Schmidt,
Pass.
Whitaker,
Just tagging on what Mayor Woman talked about, Mike Jones in the movie theater. I just really want to commend him and his efforts for the amount of money he's spending in investment to do something that he's personally wanted to do for a long time, I understand. And the effects are going to be exponential on downtown Greenville once that place is opened up. Just going to bring a whole new element downtown, and I just look forward to it. And with that, I pass.
Neely,
I'll pass.
Godwin,
The last time I talked to Mr. Jones, he's waiting for a chip for the movie projector. He said you can't get them. So he's been hunting one of those down. So, and want to thank everybody for coming up tonight, and I'll pass.
President Baumgartner.
Yeah, just, I think the mayor had brought up about the new field house for the school. I got a personal tour last week and I was kind of blown away. It's probably one of the nicest field houses that I've ever been in. So I know Mr. Schmidt, I'm sure the football team, they have a locker room for a football team, the soccer team, different locker rooms, everything's set up. It's just first class facility. The next project is the lighting. And then after that is the seating. So we're getting close to the end on all the school projects. So really proud of the school and just wanted to put that out there. And with that, I will entertain a motion to rise to executive session. Rogers, call the roll. Yes, I'll include Kim. Call the roll.
Norris,
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Neely,
Yes.
Godwin.
Yes.
Hey, thanks everyone for attending.